A very good evening and thank you for joining GBS News at 9. My name is Susan Nganga and our sign language interpreter tonight is Paul Mathenge. We begin this bulletin with the Council of Governors, where they rejected the e-procurement platform that the national government had proposed. The COG, led by its chair, Governor for Wajir Abdullahi Ahmed, says the county government will not board the e-platform until its functionality is guaranteed. The COG says the national government, through the National Treasury, by flaunting the Constitution on the independence of county government, as Davis Karani now reports on what's currently happening.
Article 6.2 of our Constitution is not inferior to circulars issued by the National Treasury Minister.
The Council of Governors has rejected the e-platform procurement championed by the national government, stating that the national government needs to implement accountability, beginning from the national level.
So he can't threaten us. If he's above the law, we'll know. He cannot threaten us that he's going to withhold money because you've told him the system that he has procured. I don't know where from.
How much?
And how much, and whether it was still procured through process, is not working. If it's not working, it's not working.
His statement comes in just 3 days after the National Treasury CS John Badi gave a directive for all the government services and procurements to be done electronically, which the COG states that its functionality is not guaranteed.
I issued a circular to government officers to procure through e-procurement, and that is still the position until the cabinet revokes it. Nothing has been revoked. We did not present anything to Parliament to be revoked. People have interest in procurement. That is the truth. They still want to go back to manual and manipulate procurement.
And no one can shove it down our throats. You must address the issues we're raising, and you must respect that we're two levels of government.
Davis Karani for GBS News, Nairobi.
Now shifting the focus, a section of political leaders is defending the Social Health Insurance Fund, saying the new system is a key step towards achieving universal health care and ending corruption in Kenya's health sector. Let's take a listen.
Indian Prime Minister Modi met with President Putin, where he paints the SCO as a vital platform for security, connectivity, and opportunity, urging member states to reject double standards on terrorism and to unify their response to such threats. He specifically references the recent Pahalgam massacre, characterizing it as not just...
We apologize for that technical hitch. Now moving forward, the government has handed over more than 1,000 case files of health fraud to the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, following a digital audit by the Ministry of Health. So far, 1,300 health facilities have been shut down for schemes that include falsifying records, inflating claims, and billing for services never provided. A new multi-agency team bringing together the Health Ministry, DCI, the Social Health Authority and Medical Practitioner, the Dentist Council, and the Digital Health Authority has been formed to safeguard public funds. Health officials say no perpetrator, whether a facility provider or patient, will escape accountability. At a joint press briefing with the Police Inspectorate General and the DCI Director, the ministry unveiled an international intelligence-powered fraud detection system which tracks every Taifa Care transaction in real time to block irregular claims before payment.
SHA, in line with its mandate, has suspended a total of 85 health facilities for fraudulent activities to allow for investigation. SHA is submitting files for 190 facilities, and these facilities are categorized into 3. Category 1 are 24 facilities. The cases which are the cases with concluded evidence of fraud.
Every person, groups of people involved in the fraud against healthcare services are brought to book and they have their day before the courts of law.
This exercise will be taken very, very seriously. We shall investigate the matter very, very promptly and make sure that all the culprits are identified and...
Now to the county news. Narok County Women Representative Rebecca Tonkei has issued a strong warning to the Kenya National Examination Council over what she describes as intimidation of candidates and teachers during national exams. Speaking at Masai Girls High School during an inspection of ongoing projects funded by 105 million shilling donation from the Mark Foundation, Tonkei questioned the presence of police officers in said classrooms and called on NEC to stop what she termed as terrorizing learners. The event also highlighted efforts to improve education access with new dormitories and fee support aimed at uplifting vulnerable girls in the region. Ibrahim Said has more on that story.
Narok County Women Representative Rebecca Tonkei has raised concern over how national exams are being conducted in schools. Speaking at Masai Girls High School, Tonkei accused the exam invigilators of intimidating candidates and teachers and questioned the legality of police officers patrolling inside classroom. She urged the Kenya National Examination Council to end what she described as terrorizing learners, citing similar incident from last year.
But probably I just want to warn the Kenya National Examination Council. Invigilation does not mean terrorizing students and teachers. This thing happened last year, and we are not going to allow you to terrorize our candidates, to terrorize our teachers. For heaven's sakes, polisi wakae nje ya mtihani room, wakubali watoto wetu wafanye mtihani. Hatutakubali hiyo. Hakuna mahali sheria inasema mimi ni mwanakamati wa elimu na wakati huu walimu sitakaa mbali sana. Ukiwa na mtu ambaye ataterrorize watoto, tutakataa hiyo. Askari akaye akisunguka, yeye ni kumaintain security. Last year, askari mpaka anaingia kwa mitihani rooms, akitafuta nini?
Her remarks came during an inspection of the ongoing development project at the school, funded by the 105 million donation from the MERCK Foundation. The foundation's chairperson, Professor Frank Stangenberg, said the new dormitories and dining hall will help create a safe and supportive learning environment. He described the facilities as a second home for students where they can focus and perform at their best.
And of course, dormitories, as you rightly said, it's second home. It's very important that you have a place for yourself where you can withdraw and be on your own. Right, so the school is now getting in a much better position than some years ago. Of course, it's a national school, which is very important. You can really start your career here now. You got all the setup you need to be successful in life, because all of you, all the, I don't know, 1,500 girls around here, you are all the backbone of the future society.
Once completed, the new infrastructure will allow the school to accommodate up to 1,000 students. Education stakeholders say investment not only improves access for vulnerable girls, but also highlight the need for reform in how national examinations are administered across the country. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Ibrahim Said.
Well, indeed, a step in the right direction. And with that report, it's time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platforms at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 21144. We'll be right back.
My name is Aurelia Chama. I'm 8 years old. I'm a grade 4 student at Waridi Utawala School. When I grow up, I like to be a supermodel, a doctor, a dermatologist, so that I can advise little children to deal better with their skin problems.
When was the first time ulianza sasa when was the first time you got your first title? Do you prefer painting, drawing, or playing outside?
Drawing.
Drawing. Oh, you also like to draw?
Dear future Aurelie, I'm advising you that to do better on your exams, to care for people, to care about yourself, and do good things. And if you have an opportunity, do it. Any opportunity, even if it's from modeling, dancing, singing, anything.
For today's topic, we are going to be talking about tranquility in diversity, celebrating Africa through youth expressions.
We have to understand that our parents are from a different generation from ours.
Sure.
And so there are things that they might not understand. So what the girl should do, just like Amelie amesema, just make sure miusema kichwa ngumu polite. I don't know if there is a word, kichwa ngumu polite.
When I started modeling, my mom was against it. Kabisa, like she never wanted to hear anything about modeling. She used to tell me, you're supposed to concentrate in school. So every time I used to go for a modeling event, my mom would call me and quarrel me. So most of the times I used to hide. I used to go to events secretly. So when Miss Tranquility happened, they posted the event. It was online. And I think she saw on television, Amelis Nyongesa crowned Miss Tranquility.
That is my daughter. That is my daughter.
Yeah. So my mom called me and told me, why didn't you tell me you're going for the event? I told her, how could I even open up and tell you I'm going for the event, because she was so against it.
Africans, we are great. We do a lot of things, but we are not credited.
As a model, like you can't crown a beauty queen without brains. Like they say, beauty with brains.
As a model, you shouldn't be losing your heritage just because of what you watch on YouTube or what you see on TikTok or on Instagram. Keep once a model, okay, mi usema once an artist, hii kitu ita sound fiti na Kiswahili. Manze once a msanii, always a msanii.
I think there's a lot we don't know out here about this industry, but that's why we're here anyway.
Yeah.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin. And now, national government administration officers are being urged to intensify crackdown on illicit brews and ensure strict adherence to bar operating hours, following growing concerns about illegal alcohol sales and their impact on communities in Kirinyaga Central. Malin Rono with the details.
During a women empowerment event in Kirinyaga Central, Laikipia East MP Mwangi Kiunjuri stressed that bar owners operating beyond legal hours must face consequences. He also criticized the rapid growth of alcohol outlets, calling on licensing and enforcement agencies to take responsibility for the situation.
Ni maneno ya usaji pombe, ambaye tena tunataka kusisitiza kwamba sisi wale wanauza pombe wauze pombe yao kulingana na sheria, waangalie masaa ya kuuza pombe zao. Lakini wale wanauza pombe ambaye ni haramu, lazima serikali iwashukulie hatua. Maana kuna ile masaa imewekwa ya kuuza pombe, lakini si kuwa na pombe mingi kuliko makanisa, na tena wanafungua masaa mingi hata kuliko kanisa. Na ndio tunasema sisi wale tuko Mount Kenya region na Kenya mzima, lazima wale wamepewa kazi ya kupigana na kazi ya pombe na mihadarati, lazima wote waingie kwa kazi yao.
The legislator noted that despite government efforts to create jobs for young people, excessive alcohol consumption continues to threaten productivity and undermine opportunities for the youth. The event, hosted by Kirinyaga Central MP Gashoki Gitari, also gave residents a platform to discuss ongoing government development projects.
Sasa imekuwa ni kama kila mahali, kila mtu anateta kuna bagi na madawa ya kulevya. Hii madawa ambayo inauzwa kila mahali, bagi iko, contraband kila mahali, lazima hii maneno ikome. Maneno ya vijana kuwa ati kila mahali akipita, hata saa hii tu utakuta bagi inafutiwa pale. Kila mahali sasa hata imekuwa ni kama sigara. Hii maneno lazima tupigane naye. Maneno ya kubero, nimeona akina mama anifanya hivi. Hiyo maneno ya kubero. Maneno hii ya sijui wapi. Tuheshimiane jameni. Kama kitu haijapitishwa na serikali iuzwe, isiuzwe. Na ile serikali imepitisha iuzwe masaa fulani, iuzwe hiyo masaa.
Both leaders assured residents of the government's commitment to delivering on its promises and maintaining peace in the region. Gitari pledged continued support for community initiatives with additional donations of equipment and resources expected in the coming months. Molly Rono for GBS News.
Now to other county news. Farmers from across the country today converged at the Kerugoya Law Courts to challenge the government's proposed direct settlement scheme, a payment model, they say, threatens the role of cooperatives and exposing them to financial uncertainty. The court allowed the National Coffee Cooperative Union to be enjoined in the case, with further direction expected on Wednesday. Here is more.
The government's push to implement the direct settlement system has faced growing resistance from farmers, particularly those aligned with cooperative societies. The system, introduced last year, seeks to channel payment directly to farmers' bank accounts, bypassing traditional cooperative, a move critics say threatens the backbone of agricultural organization. Today, hundreds of farmers from tea-growing regions across the country gathered outside the Kerugoya Law Court, joining their counterpart in challenging the rollout of DSS. The court allowed the National Coffee Cooperative Union to be enjoined in the case, with further directions expected on Wednesday. Farmers are calling on the government to halt the implementation, arguing that system undermines their collective bargaining power, excluding those without banking access.
Society inasaidia wakulima kupea pesa wakati wajafuna kahawa. Na kahawa yetu inakaanga kwa shamba for 6 months. Hakuna payment yenye inafanyika kwa sababu kahawa haijaiva. Na tunataka kahawa ilipwe mara 2 ama mara 1 kwa pesa ambayo inastahili, sio pesa kidogo kidogo ya mwezi moja. Sasa tunasema pesa iende kwa society.
Na kwa vile mmekuwa kotini kwa wengine wenu, mmeweza kusikia vile koti imesema. Kwa leo tulikuwa tunakuja kusikizwa kwa ile kesi ambayo tulikuwa tumeweka kotini kwa niaba yenu, kwa niaba ya society zenu. Ingawa mmesikia koti imesema ya kwamba tutarudi Wednesday tarehe 3 mwezi wa 9 ndio tuweze kusikiza ile application ya kuweza kukubali naku waingie kwa kesi.
As legal battle unfold, stakeholders say the outcome could reshape how farmers are paid nationwide. Cooperative leaders warn that sidelining their role could destabilize the sector, while proponents of DSS maintain it will bring transparency and efficiency. All eyes are now turned to Wednesday's hearing for the next chapter in the fight over the farm payments. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Ibrahim Said.
Now moving forward, Principal secretaries, the government spokesperson and head of key parastatals have today intensified town hall engagements across Mount Kenya region, stepping up efforts to articulate the government's development agenda. The high-level delegation is meeting President face-to-face to explain ongoing projects, address public concerns, and rally support for key initiatives aimed at transforming the region's social-economic landscape.
The government has stepped up public engagement in Mount Kenya region. Principal Secretary, the government spokesman, and parastatal heads are holding town hall meetings.
Not just for the people of this region, but across the country. And we have seen development going on. Hapa Kirinyaga haswa, iko markets zinajengwa. Hapa Kirinyaga pia, tumeona mabarabara inaendelea. Hapa Kirinyaga kuna housing agenda. So this development agenda is what we want to stress on. We do not want to drag ourselves into political cocoons where people just discuss issues that are not helping the people of Kenya.
The forum aimed to explain the government development agenda and address public concerns. Residents are being briefed on key projects in infrastructure, health, and economic growth. The outreach is part of efforts to boost transparency and public trust in government programs.
Kuna kijana amebonga hapa hivi akasema kuna wenye hizo doa hazijafika kwa grau. Basi kuambia cheki bado tunafanya hizo mikakati. Acha niongee lugha yao kisha kidogo ndio wapate hiyo wenye hiyo vibe inasemekana hiyo vibe kidogo. So tunataka kufanyaje? Tumesakanya mayuzo 5 million ambao tuna watrain ndio wajue venye watafanya mabiashara. Out of this 100k of them, kila mtu atapatiwa 50k ya kuanza biashara ndogo ndogo. Unacheki? Wengine amjui hiyo story. Alafu kila ward, hii ni ward gani inaitwaje? Ward yenu inaitwa what? Jokeile. Every ward, 70 youth are going to get the 50,000 across the whole country, 1,450 wards across the country. So mtupatie muda kidogo sana, najua kumekuwa na delay kidogo, tulikuwa tuanze hii mwezi wa Julai, lakini believe you me, tumeweka over 20 billion kwa hiyo project na tuko tayari kufanya hivyo kama serikali. Tutaweza kufikisha kwa Mheshimiwa Rais William Samoei Ruto. Ama namna gani? Yale yote ambayo tumesema, tumesikia hapa kwa ground, tutafikishia wizara tofauti tofauti, ndiposa wa Kenya, wa hapa Kirinyaga, wakaaji wa hapa Njukeile, wakaaji wa hapa Gishogo, wapate empowerment, waletewe hizo pikipiki, wakati wakazi village elders wetu hapa, wapatiwe pesa ya kusaidia kufanya mambo ya nyumba kumi, hayo mambo ya security, hayo mambo ya kuhakikisha kwamba watu wetu, vijana wetu, wamepata ajira na ili Kenya iweze kusonga mbele.
Brian Omala, reporting for GBS TV.
It is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platforms at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 21144. We'll be right back with the international news.
Hello kids! Today we are going to learn the story about Jesus feeding 5,000 people. Do you know of any other miracle that Jesus Christ did? Do you know which work Jesus Christ used to do? My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. 5 tiny barley loaves, 2 small fish in a little boy's lunchbox. Although it wasn't much, he gave it to Jesus.
But what is the problem? The problem, people don't want to hear the voice of Jesus, and they don't want to live through the voice of Jesus. But most of the time, people are living their life of struggling. The people who died before receiving Jesus Christ, the people who died in sin, those people, they will go to the judgment They will go to the fire, and those people will say that they are dead because they will face the second death, which is the hellfire. People without knowing this, people think that, no, I should do something. No, I need to do something. Why? Because they don't know exact heart of God. They don't know exact will of God. And through this, God allowed His goodness. God allowed the problems in our life. And when God allowed this goodness leads us to
everywhere. GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin, and now we'll look at a report that highlights the ongoing tensions between Burundi and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Let's take a listen.
The tug point to the large-scale violence in the eastern DRC, particularly the M23 rebel group's actions, supported by Rwanda, a neighboring country, has been drawn into the conflict by deploying troops to fight alongside the Congolese army against the M23.
My job is to transport goods to the DRC like flour, water, juice. Today our job is really just to go there. But there is nothing because of the lack of customers due to the war. Our customers are no longer buying as many goods. Before we could make 3 trips a day, but now we are lucky if we can make 2. And sometimes we go there and come back empty-handed.
The intensified fighting has caused a large number of people, many already internally displaced, to seek refuge in Burundi and other neighboring countries. The instability in the eastern DRC has long involved its neighbors, including Rwanda and Burundi, in complex proxy conflict, creating a regional security concern.
Previously, Congolese people came in droves and bought a lot of items, but now they come only in dribs and drabs, and only those who live here close to the border come. Those who used to come from the far reaches of the country no longer come.
The widespread violence has resulted in millions displaced and significant needs for humanitarian aid, including healthcare and basic necessities for those affected.
We come from Congo to buy vegetables in Burundi. We thank God because we often find them and can resell them back home in Congo. Our challenge in Congo is the lack of markets, so we are forced to be street vendors. But we thank God because we earn a little. Sometimes we wake up to the sound of gunfire, and we either come or stay. At the start of the school year, it's the same thing. Bullets whistle overhead, and we either go home or stay.
Now we shift the focus to what's currently happening in South Sudan, in the troubled Tambura region. The United Nations mission in South Sudan is setting up a temporary base to boost security and support communities affected by ongoing violence. As thousands remain displaced, the tension persists. The mission hopes these moves will bring stability to an area plagued by conflict.
In South Sudan's Tambura region, the United Nations mission in South Sudan is building a new temporary base to strengthen peacekeeping efforts. Since 2021, intercommunal violence in the area has killed many and displaced thousands, forcing families into makeshift camps.
We don't understand the origin of this conflict. We have lived in this camp for about 6 years with hunger and suffering. Our makeshift shelters are in bad shape. The rainy season has made things worse. Now we sleep on rainwater. We cannot farm because we fear being attacked. We urge the government and partners to look into our situation. We cannot leave the camp. We can sleep because the UNMISS peacekeepers patrol the area at night. If they were not here, we don't know whether we would even have been able to sleep.
The new base marks a vital step towards restoring safety and stability. The United Nations mission in South Sudan has already stepped up its presence, working closely with communities to prevent further violence and promote dialogue.
This signifies a lot because we have
a lot of resources and positioning ourselves in that new TOD to do more patrols on the ground and to do more engagement and to facilitate peace mediation and peace processes on the ground.
Still recovering from a devastating civil war, South Sudan faces ongoing challenges including corruption, famine, and dependency on aid. But the mission's expanded role in Tambura offers hope, a move towards peace in a country still finding its footing. Elvis Muyodi, GBS News.
Now we shift the focus to what's currently happening in the Vatican, where Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa met Pope Leo XIV at the Vatican, signaling strengthened diplomatic ties between Harare and the Holy See. The meeting took place at the Apostolic Palace and focused on shared concerns and areas of cooperation. Discussions highlighted Zimbabwe's ongoing economic challenges, including hyperinflation and currency instability, and the Church's vital role in providing healthcare, education, and environmental support. Both sides emphasized the importance of continued collaboration to support vulnerable communities. And now we shift the focus to the summit that is currently happening, where Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is addressing key themes of cooperation, peace, and unity at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization opening session in Tianjin. Speaking alongside Russian President Vladimir Putin, Modi strongly underscores terrorism, strategic autonomy, and improved ties with China, a central message ahead of the summit's formal proceedings. Here's more on the story from Moline Rono.
Indian Prime Minister Modi met with President Putin, where he paints the SCO as a vital platform for security, connectivity, and opportunity, urging member states to reject double standards on terrorism and to unify their response to such threats. He specifically references the recent Pahalgam massacre, characterizing it as not just an assault on India, but as a broader assault on regional and global security frameworks.
We are committed to taking our relations forward on the basis of mutual trust, respect, and sensitivity. An atmosphere of peace and stability has been created.
On bilateral lines, Modi affirms that India and China are development partners and not rivals, emphasizing the importance of strategic autonomy and urging their relations should not be seen through a third country lens. He directly highlights the new peaceful and stable atmosphere along the border following disengagement and stressed the necessity of tranquility for furthering bilateral development.
At present, the international landscape is marked by intertwined changes and turbulence, and member states face increasingly arduous tasks in ensuring security and development. China is willing to work with all parties to take this meeting as an opportunity to review experience, draw up the blueprint, and jointly promote the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in entering a new stage of high-quality development and high-level cooperation, and to build a closer community of shared future for the SCO.
Modi's remarks reinforce India's push for unity, counter-terror solidarity, and stable neighborly relations, especially with China. As the SCO summit progresses, these themes are expected to shape discussions around regional security, economic integration, and the bloc's evolving geopolitical role.
SCO member states are all friends and partners. We must respect each other's differences, maintain strategic communication, build collective consensus, strengthen unity and coordination, expand the scope of cooperation, make full use of each country's strengths, and shoulder together the responsibility of promoting peace, stability, development, and prosperity in the region.
On a fun note about that report, my producer and I were reporting about it, and it is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into social media platforms at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 244. We'll be right back with more international news, and ask yourself, is the power shifting to the east and or still remaining in the west?
Is love enough? Let me just ask that question first before we dive in.
No. In marriage is more than love. It's there's love, there's trust, there's respect.
What is the definition of love in the context of marriage?
Love, to me, is one of the cornerstones of the marriage. And for the marriage to work, they demand effort, total commitment, and shared vision.
Like, you can't tell your wife, come and sit on my lap.
How hard is it for him to tell me, come and sit on my lap?
Can your mom do that?
Hello kids! Today we are going to learn the story about Jesus feeding 5,000 people. Do you know of any other miracle that Jesus Christ did? Do you know which work Jesus Christ used to do? My God is so big, so strong and so mighty, there's nothing my God cannot do. 5 tiny barley loaves, 2 small fish in a little boy's lunchbox. Although it wasn't much, he gave it to Jesus.
AS and A levels is a qualification program that is advanced. That is after one has completed the high GCSE program, then they advise to continue for AS and A level. AS typically is a 1-year program, and A levels is done in the 2nd year after completing the AS level. And this one equips the student with the knowledge that is recommended for the university and also by employers outside the countries or within the country.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin, and now to what's currently happening in Gaza, where the United Nations has issued a stark warning stating that Gaza is falling into severe famine. 500,000 people are already suffering from extreme hunger, with another 160,000 at risk in the coming weeks. UN relief agencies say aid is being halted at the border and hospitals are running out of critical medicines. Additionally, fears of disease outbreak are increasing as doctors report a rise in suspected cases of Guillain-Barré syndrome, a condition that can cause paralysis but currently has no available treatments. Humanitarian officials emphasize that the entire Gaza Strip urgently needs safe, unrestricted access for food and medical supplies, or the crisis will worsen into an even greater catastrophe.
There are supplies going in to these militarized distribution hubs. We don't have oversight over all of that. What remains is that we have a declared famine in Gaza, and there are 500,000 people in that phase right now, expected to rise by about 160,000 more in the coming weeks. They all need food. The entire Gaza Strip needs food. There would not have been a declared famine had there been sufficient amounts of food. The number to look at now is the number of people in IPC 5. and the number of people in IPC5 that is going to go up in the coming weeks if nothing changes, because that rise is based on the assumption that nothing radically changes. So we are on a descent into a massive famine, and we need massive amounts of food getting in to the Strip and safely distributed across the Gaza Strip.
94 suspected GBS cases, Guillain-Barré syndrome, were reported across the Gaza Strip. This increase is partly also now due to increased surveillance. After the first cases appeared, surveillance was increased, especially by the Ministry of Health, with support of WHO and the partners. There's the first line of treatment for Guillain-Barré, which is called an intravenous immune globulin or a plasma exchange. But these two are at zero stock, as are anti-inflammatories, and therefore these deliveries must be urgently expedited as much as surveillance and testing capabilities.
Now shift the focus to what's happening in Detroit, where the People's Conference for Palestine concluded today with a powerful and urgent message: turn the rising outrage across the United States into tangible action in support of Gaza. The gathering brought together activists, community leaders, and campaigners, demanding that elected officials, institutions, and citizens convert their frustration into policy pressure, humanitarian aid, and sustained solidarity. According to one delegate, he states, "Our outrage must not longer stop at protest. Now it must become organized, strategic, and effective." As the conference ends, the message is crystal clear: mobilize that public anger into meaningful, real-world impact.
As Israel began its assault on Gaza, it was student protests encampments at US universities that first grabbed nation attention. One of the messages at the Second People's Conference for Palestine is that though the encampments have been swept away often quite brutally by authorities, the student movement is still active.
The student movement is not only encampments, it's not only protests. There's a lot going into political education, into building communities, building cross-movement solidarity across different movements. And this is happening.
So much of the discussion here is about how to transform U.S. public recognition of the Israeli genocide into action by intensifying the already tangible unease of the Democratic Party over Israel heading into the midterm elections, or embarking on direct action at the local level to stop the U.S. weapons flow.
We're ready to go. Ultimately, we're going to leave this conference with action in mind, not statements, not slogans, none of that. We brought together thousands of organizers, activists, people who have actual bases of support back home looking for direction.
Activists are also connecting the Gaza genocide to other issues of concern to the American public, such as inequality, racism, political corruption, and district of mainstream media. Reporting for GBS TV, I'm Paul M. Minor.
And on to a sad report. A powerful earthquake has struck eastern Afghanistan, leaving hundreds dead and many more injured. The late-night tremor devastated villages near the Pakistan border, with rescuers now racing against time in remote and mountainous terrain. A strong earthquake with a magnitude of 6.0 struck eastern Afghanistan near the Pakistan border, primarily affecting Kunar and the Nangarhar provinces. The earthquake occurred late at night, around 11:47 p.m. local time, causing severe destruction to villages built mostly from mud and stone. The earthquake's shallow depth of about 8 kilometers intensified the damage. The death toll, reported by the Taliban-run Afghan Interior Ministry, reached at least 622 people, with over 1,500 injured, and the figures are expected to rise as emergency teams continue rescue operation in this remote, mountainous terrain. The earthquake also triggered landslide that blocked roads, complicating access for aid workers. Helicopters and rescue teams from nearby provinces were deployed to assist the survivors and transport the injured. The hardest hit district include Nugal, Saki, Wasapur, Manugi, and Chapadara in Kunar province and part of the Nagahar province. The region's vulnerability is due to both its tectonic setting at the convergence of the Indian and Eurasian plates and the poor construction standards of local homes, which cannot withstand such seismic activity effectively. Aftershock following the main earthquake were also reported, adding further challenges to the rescue efforts. Susan Nganga, GBS News, Afghanistan. A very sad report there, and with that we have come to the end of our news bulletin tonight. It's always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again next time, same channel. My name is Susan Nganga, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Paul Mathenge. Have a good night.